Welcome back to another episode of The Goodall Show, where we learn how to grow, motivate you to grind, and encourage you to give. I am James Goodall, your host, and we are on episode number 13, I believe. And last week was busy. I had a junior high tournament Monday and Tuesday that we put on, 8 teams. We ended up winning that tournament, double elimination. Wednesday, Tuesday night, it started to snow. Wednesday, we shoveled all day. School was canceled, so our Wednesday tournament got moved to Monday. The JV tournament got moved to Monday, which is tomorrow. And then Thursday, we had no school because it kept snowing. We shoveled all of our driveways once on Wednesday, and then we shoveled about 30 of them on Thursday, again, for the second time. And then Friday and Saturday of this week, we had the varsity tournament, 8 teams, double elimination. Went very well. The guys did a great job. You know, this year is a unique year. There's a lot of seniors on the team, and every year is unique. Every year is different. Every team is different. But the guys this year are a lot of leaders in the school and then on the team. So it was fun to watch. You know, every year when you watch the seniors play, especially in the tournament, you look at it in a different light, right? They're not going to play basketball competitively in front of a crowd in this environment ever again. You know, they're not going to. They're not going to college to play basketball. They're moving on to focus on being an adult and enjoying that. But watching them play and watching them grind, it's fun. So they played well, but I wasn't able to have a phone call. Just too busy. Obviously, this week was super busy. And let me know what you think about not having phone calls on the podcast and having phone calls. Like, what is it? I'm not looking to not have a phone call very often. You know, once a month at most, so once every 4 times at the most. I like having phone calls with you guys. I think it helps. I think it brings up conversations, brings up problems that we can talk about, what people can learn from. So I like having phone calls. So if you want to get on the show, just email me on Instagram, or email me at thegoodallshow@gmail.com, but then also message me on Instagram. So I like having phone calls, but this week, it didn't work out. It was just too busy. But this is what I want to talk about. There's a few things. First of all, I want to talk about, it's about the little things. It's all about the little things in your business. It's all about the little things in your relationship, all about little things in life, but specifically business. When, you know, as I coach basketball, right, we won the championship for the junior high, and then we also won the championship in the varsity, and we lost 4 games this season. I know we played over 30. Might have played like 35 games this season. Lost 4 games. We lost to a team in the beginning of the season at a tournament that we revenged that loss. Like 3 weeks left in the season, we beat them. We lost in another tournament. On a buzzer beater. We weren't able to play them again. We weren't able to revenge that loss. Then we lost to 2 other teams where we were able to beat them in the tournament we just played. So as you play good teams, right, it's not about the three-pointer at the buzzer, right? That's a huge deal. But to get to that spot, it's about taking a charge. It's about communicating on defense. It's about diving on the floor for the loose ball. It's all about the little things. And in business, too, it's not about a big contract that we just got where it's the biggest contract, 3 times the size of the biggest contract we've ever gotten. It's not about necessarily that big contract that's going to make your business succeed. We would not have been able to handle that big contract if we didn't do the little things right. You know, 3 years ago, right, we weren't very organized. We weren't very clean, right? The garage was a mess. The office was a mess. Our payroll system was just unorganized. There wasn't a good system in place for payroll, for mowing. So we had to fix those little things to be able to handle the big thing that came along. Like for the system for payroll, right? It used to be where we got done with the day, and if you're watching on YouTube, I am dressed up, you know, a little bit more nicer than I usually am. I'm not wearing a hat. I'm not wearing like jeans. I'm not wearing this stuff. It's because this is right after church, and I had to get this done. I didn't have any time throughout the week to get this podcast done, and I need to upload. I want to upload it tonight. So if you think I dress up nicely. Just let me know. So, but the system for payroll, we used to be on the desk, right? They come in after work and they throw their pieces of paper in a tray on the desk and just pile up. Now it's simple. We just in the door when you walk in the door on the left, there's trays. One says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's 6 trays, 5 days, Monday through Friday, and then on the bottom tray is where you pick up your checks. So when you walk in the morning, when you walk in at night, fill out your sheet, boom, it goes in the Monday slot. It's a simple fix that took us maybe 5 minutes to put up those trays, to screw those trays in, but it's changed our life in a little way that makes our life so much easier. The system for mowing, right? There is a way where we load our trucks. The trimmers go this way, right? The gas cans go this way. The toolbox goes this way. The blowers go at this part of the truck. The mowers go in on a certain way. If you don't do it the right way, it's less efficient. There's a more efficient way to do it. It's all about the little things that build up. And there's got to be something in your life. There's got to be something in your business, where the way you're doing it can be improved, can be made better. And the book 2 Second Lean is huge. It really helps with that, but it's about making the little things better. And then the system for mowing. There is a better way to mow than to cut grass, the fastest way, the most efficient way, right? When you get to the truck, where there's 2 guys on a truck, there's 2 guys on a crew, you trim, you start in the front right corner. That's what we teach them. We edge the sidewalks. We edge the curb. There's a path to do it the fastest way. When you're mowing, you don't mow the backyard first. Now, why is that? Well, if you're mowing the backyard first and the guy who's trimming and edging gets done and you have mowed the backyard first and now you're working up to the front, well, now he has to wait to blow the driveway. Well, if you would have mowed the front yard first and the sides and all the stuff that you get grass on the driveway and the sidewalk, he can mow the backyard without getting grass anywhere. So he can blow everything. He's not having to wait for you. There's an efficient way to do everything. And in your business, there has to be something that you can improve on. If your business is perfect, you are 1 out of a million, right? There is something to improve to make the little things better. I watched in the 4th quarter of the game on Saturday afternoon to get to the championship. A guy drove baseline on the other team. He beat his man, and one of our teammates slid over and took a charge. Taking a charge is probably one of the most selfless things you can do on the basketball court, right? The guy is charging at you, trying to score, and you step in front of him, and you just stand there, and he runs you over, right? That is a very little thing that not a lot of players want to do, but yet it adds up. I think we were down by 3. No, we were up by 3 at that point. He's driving to the lane. If he scores, it's a 1-point game. Anything can happen. But instead, we took a charge because he cared more about the team and that little thing that needed to be done. And now we have the ball going down the court and we scored. Now we're up 5 instead of being up 1. I remember in my game, the JV team, someone canceled, so we were able to be in the varsity tournament. We got killed the first game against the varsity team, 90-13. It was 90-13, not good. But there was a ball on the ground, loose ball. And one of my players did not dive on the ground. At this point, this was not the blowout game. We were down by 4. He didn't dive on the ground. The other team did. They got the ball and they scored. It's all about the little things. So first, that I want to talk about, 3 things I want to talk about. First is the little things. The second thing is know your numbers. You have to know your numbers in your business. If you don't know what you're making on each yard, you're not going to be able to know if you're making any money. Like if you should charge more, or you should stay the same, or you need to raise your prices, or find a different software program because it's costing you too much. We brought in like $7,000 over the last time it snowed, right? So Wednesday when it snowed, brought in $7,000. And how we know our numbers is we just do the math. Right, once a week, 2 times a week. Once every week, once every 2 weeks. You have to look at it and say, when you're mowing, we bring in $5,000 a week. How much do we pay in payroll? How much do we pay in repairs? How much do we pay insurance? How much do we pay for gas? And if you break it down, you might find out, hey, I'm actually not making as much money as I thought. We broke down the numbers, right? We brought in $7,000, $1,500 in payroll, not counting me and my brother. $1,500 in payroll, so that's about what, 20%? 20% of the revenue. And then gas, you got to count for gas. There was a blower that broke down, right? We have to fix that. So you add up all these numbers and like, yeah, we brought in 7,000, but we're not making 7,000. But then I see comments on TikTok say, you're not making any money. You need to charge more. I'm like, actually, we made over 50% profit in that night. So it's pretty good. So we know our numbers. You have to know your numbers, because if there's properties that you're not making money on, right? It's too far away, or you're not charging enough, or it's just it's right in your area, but it's just a corner lot, it's an awkward yard, and there's no way you can make money, then you need to drop them, right? Yes, you can charge more, 40 instead of going from 40 to 50. That's fine. But if you don't know your numbers, then you're never going to know. Right? You're never going to know if you should charge more. So you have to know your numbers. That's a goal, right? If you don't know your numbers last year, start this year. I mean, spring's not going to be here for 2 weeks. 2 months, for me at least. You have to know your numbers. First thing, you guys, all about the little things. Second thing is know your numbers. And lastly is the best way to market. What is the best way to market? And when you're first starting out, I highly recommend flyers door to door. If you have 10 yards and you're trying to get to 20, pass out 1,000 flyers. Pass out 2,000 flyers in the neighborhoods that you want. And the flyer needs to be professional. I told you before, on Florida Turf Pros, we got our flyer from Florida Turf Pros. I think our flyer looks better. We've made it look really good. It's just a picture of our family, a paragraph describing our family. On the back, it has our services, some specials, some deals. And it really works. We've had multiple people call and say, hey, we don't want your service. We don't need your service. We have a mower. But this is the first flyer that I've read front and back completely. And I just want to let you know this flyer is great. And if you have a flyer that makes that impression, we've had crazy amount of success. 1% doesn't sound very much, but when you pass out 7,000 flyers, 1% is 70. 70 yards. If it's a 0.5%, you're getting 35 yards. Is it a lot of work to pass out flyers door to door? Absolutely. Can you pass out 7,000 flyers by yourself? No, you cannot. It would take you way too long. But is there a cousin? Is there a nephew? Is there a junior high kid? Is there multiple junior high kids that you know, that you have, that people know, that would want to make $8 an hour walking door to door? $8 an hour to a junior high kid, trust me, is a lot of money. You hand them $40 and all they had to do is walk door to door. They're that's exciting to them. So is there a way for you to pass out 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 flyers that you can print up for $40? Not $40, like $100, $140, $200. Is there a way to pass out door-to-door flyers? And the secondly is Facebook ads. You can spend a lot of money quickly on Facebook ads. And if you don't know what you're doing, you need to learn, because you can look up and a week from now you can spend $250 and it seemed like it didn't work. So that's why I don't recommend. We didn't do Facebook ads until last year, and we did door-to-door flyers all the time. So what I would say is don't do Facebook market yet, Facebook ads yet, because you can spend money quickly if you do not know what you're doing. We like Facebook ads. We're very successful with them. Then we're very successful with our website. But I recommend door-to-door flyers if you don't have the money to spend. People ask me all the time, should you do direct marketing, direct mail? We've just never done it. When I looked it up last time, it was substantially more. It's like 4 times. If I'm spending $1,000 to pass out 2,000 flyers, right? By the time I pay somebody to do it, it's costing 3 times, 4 times the amount, and it just wasn't worth it to us. Those are the best ways that we found out to market. I really do. I highly recommend door-to-door flyers. In this day and age, I know people look online, but at the same time, if it's a flyer that stands out, we've had success for the last 4 years. And obviously last year with COVID, it was a little different. People were a little leery, but we kept passing them out, and we didn't have anybody call and complain. I think the door-to-door flyers are the greatest if you want to build density in your lawn care company, right? If you have 15 lawns and you're trying to get 20, pass out 1,000 flyers 3 times in the spring, 3 separate times in the spring in a neighborhood, and you'll get yard as long as the flyer looks good. Talk I talked about the little things. I know this is a shorter podcast, and I'm sorry about that. I don't have a lot of things to talk about, but I do think that doing the little things, knowing your numbers, and the best way to market, if you actually look at the little things, if you actually get organized, if you actually clean your office, if you actually clean your garage, you're going to feel better about yourself. And then if you know your numbers, the Profits First is a really good book, man. Profits First is a book that I recommend. One of my top 5 books, right? I have Profits First, I have Pumpkin Plan, I have The One Thing, and I have 2 Second Lean. Those 4. And then the book of the week is my 5th book. Maybe not in that order, but those 5 books, I really think Profits First really helps you know your numbers, and you got to know your numbers to grow. And then lastly, the best ways to market. For the book of the week, I have Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover, and I know a lot of people don't they don't agree with Dave Ramsey. They think, you have to live with debt. You have to have a credit card. You have to have credit. And it's just not true. I mean, it's just not. I read this book when I was a sophomore in college, and I was pretty good with my money. I wouldn't say pretty good. I was way above average handling my money, right? Like if I made $400, I would have a goal of saving at least 50%. Like it was more like 75%. Didn't have very many bills back then. I was saving as much as I could. I remember when I was a sophomore in college, my second semester of sophomore in college, I started doing a paper out in the mornings because I wanted to make extra money. And I took every single dime of that and put it on my next year's school bill. And I was my school bill for my junior year was paid off before my sophomore year was done. I was pretty good with my money, as in I wasn't spending any money, I wasn't wasting any money. I was probably too frugal. I didn't have anything. I had a $500 car that ran. I was fine with it. Trust me, I was fine with it. That car, I spun out on the highway, hit a tree in the back. It was all dented up. I took my truck, put a chain to it. My dad's truck took a chain to it, yanked it, put in four-wheel drive and yanked out the thing so I could actually drive it. I was very frugal. So I was good with my money. But when I read the book, it gave me a path to be successful / wealthy when I get older. Right? It gave me an opportunity and I would not have my Roth IRA, my retirement fund, if I didn't follow Dave Ramsey for 5, 7, 10 years now. And it gave me a path. I started investing in my retirement 8 years ago now, $500 a week, $500 a month. And that's the reason why I have a retirement account growing now, right? That's the reason why I have an account for my son and my daughter, that when they get married, here's a marriage gift. It's not for their wedding. It's not for that. It's after they get married, for a down payment on a house. The reason why I have that is because of Dave Ramsey. And do I listen to his podcast now? No, I don't. I don't listen to his podcast. I wouldn't say I don't. I've listened to his podcast last year. I probably listened to it, once a month, one podcast, one episode a month, because a lot of the questions that I've learned. But if you haven't learned that, if you don't know about how to handle money, how to pay off your debt, how to invest, how to save, how to use cash, why do people say you need credit? Why do people say you don't need credit? If you don't know those things, I highly recommend reading the book. You might totally disagree with everything, and that's fine. But if you've only heard your whole life is Dave Ramsey, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and you've never read the book or you've never listened to his podcast, all you've seen is some posts or other people talking about it. I've seen people on TikTok talk about Dave Ramsey and how he's so out of date. The problem with that is most of the people that are following that person have never actually read Dave Ramsey and never listened to his book. I've never had debt my whole life. I don't have credit. I've never borrowed any money. And I wouldn't say I'm rich, but the path that I'm taking, it's leading me successful. I don't have any debt. I don't owe any money. And people say, well, how are you going to buy a house? You can buy a house with no credit. Multiple of my friends have bought houses with no credit. My brother has bought a house with no credit. You don't need credit to buy a house. I highly recommend this book, guys. I really do. Total Money Makeover. It's a very good read, and I read it in a night. I was working downtown Chicago at a door, and I read it in a night and changed my life. Really changed the trajectory of the wealth that I believe I'm able to build. So, hey, I hope this podcast helped. I really do. And let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. First of all, how do I look? Honestly. Like, would you rather me wear a hat with the Packers hat, even though they lost, and look like I'm working? Or do you want me to wear like I came from church? You just let me know in the comments below. Hey, I appreciate it. I think we hit over 3,000 downloads, about a week ago. We are growing quickly, and it's credit to you guys. You guys have really listened, and it's helped. I've read some of the comments, and the only reason why I do this is to help you guys, because I wish I had a podcast 5 years ago that I could have listened to, where it was just practical stuff, and that would have helped me. And I have a podcast that I listen to still, but mainly I'm reading books, listening to podcasts every once in a while. I love what I do. I love working for the school. I love coaching basketball. I love building a business. And there's a reason why I do it. There's a reason why I turn down stuff, because I want my life to be not full of money, right? I think I could make more money if I didn't coach basketball, right? If I was focused on my business more. But that's not why I'm here. Right? I'm here to do what I am supposed to do and why I'm here on this earth. And my life goal is not to become rich. My life goal is not to have a $1 billion business. My life goal is not to have a $5 million business. My life goal is to do what God wants me to do. So if this podcast helps, appreciate you giving me a follow. Subscribing on YouTube. We're almost, I think, pretty soon. The growth we're having on YouTube, we might hit 2,000 subs soon, maybe in a month or so, and we've really grown on that. And I hope if this podcast helped, you just share it. If it didn't help, just share it. It's fine. If you hate this podcast, just share it. Comment something negative. It helps the algorithm. Hey, you guys are here from TikTok, most of you. Got Instagram, YouTube, podcast. Just trying to help. Have a good one.